the photo booth. It happened during a photography assignment in Nagano. Maybe calling it a business trip is too formal, it was just a remote job. In places like Nagano, where cars are essential, it's not rare to see rows of vending machines even deep in the mountains, lit and humming quietly in the darkness. That evening, after I finished work, the sun had long set. As I drove back to the hotel, I followed the GPS through an unfamiliar route, different from the one I came by. Felt strange, but I trusted the navigation. Eventually, I spotted some lights ahead. Drawing closer, I saw a row of vending machines. I was a bit hungry, so I decided to stop for a coffee. I pulled into the small gravel space in front of the machines, engine running, grabbed my wallet, and got out. Vending machines in rural areas often lack major brand logos. Various drinks from different companies are jumbled together. As I sipped the cold coffee and browsed the lineup, I noticed something odd at the end of the row. A photo booth. The kind that takes ID pictures. Its lights were on. It looked operational, yet completely out of place among the drink machines. I stepped forward, curious, but I stopped. The curtain was drawn, and from beneath it, I could see two bare feet, adult male feet, standing firmly inside. Lit faintly by the vending machine's glow, I could clearly see the skin. Barefoot. Why? There were no other cars, no houses nearby. I backed away slowly, gravel crunching underfoot, hoping not to make too much noise. The feet did not move. Why barefoot? Who was in there? I reached the car door. As I opened it, a small lamp inside the photo booth flickered on. Click. A mechanical sound echoed. I leapt into the car, panic roaring in my ears, chanting silently, "Don't come out, don't come out," and slammed the gas pedal. The tires screeched. The car shot forward. Through the rearview mirror, the lights of the vending machines grew distant. Nothing chased me. Still, I didn't let my guard down. Not until I saw familiar lights of residential homes did I ease my grip on the steering wheel. Even then, the question burned in my mind. What was captured in that photo booth? At a nearby convenience store, I stopped, tossed out the untouched coffee, and bought something else to shake the dread off. Then I headed toward the hotel. That night, I didn't sleep. My mind replayed the still, bare feet standing silently behind that curtain. Shouts of the festival. This is a story a friend of mine heard from someone he knew. Back when they were in college during summer vacation, he and a friend went on a late-night drive through northern Kanto. Around 10 p.m., they stopped the car near a small mountain and, on a whim, decided to climb up the slope alongside the road. There was a river nearby, and the sound of running water echoed through the woods. The moonlight peeked through the trees, just enough for them to see their footing, but not much else. They joked and wandered aimlessly. At one point, one of them stepped on what seemed to be a soggy magazine and laughed, suggesting it was probably a dirty book. That's when they heard it. Voices from far away. They quieted down, listening carefully. Gradually, the sound became clearer. It was the rhythmic chant of a festival crowd. Washoi, washoi, like people carrying a Mikashi shrine. At first, they thought a local festival was taking place nearby, but something felt off. The voices were moving toward them, fast, running speed, coming downhill. But even as they approached 10 meters, 5 meters, no people could be seen. Just voices, pounding like a wall of sound. Then the chant shifted. The rhythm broke. The voices screamed instead, "Go back, go back, go back." Paralyzed by confusion and fear, one friend bolted. But the storyteller couldn't move, his limbs frozen, breath shallow. Nothing else happened. No shadowy figures, no attacks, but the message was clear. Eventually, his body responded, and he too ran back to the car. That mountain wasn't known for legends. There was no accident site, no abandoned buildings. To this day, they still have no idea what they heard. Maybe they never will. Shadows in the ruins. This happened last Saturday. Forgive me if the story seems jumbled. I'm still shaken. My boyfriend and I, along with his colleague A and A's girlfriend B, decided to go on a small trip. The boys suggested visiting an abandoned factory, a hobby of theirs. B and I were nervous, but agreed. They picked a site with no bad history, a large glass factory that went under after the economic bubble burst. A's relative used to work there. It was remote, but connected to the main road, so it seemed safe. We gathered at 7 a.m. The weather cleared up as we drove deeper into the mountains. The road was old and cracked, but passable. We passed some vending machines and fields, then arrived at the compound, high walls, sealed gates. We climbed over. Inside, it was strangely clean, like a school on a holiday. Windows intact, doors untouched. My boyfriend hesitated to force entry, so we walked the perimeter first. That's when we saw a person. Startled, we looked closer. Just an ordinary middle-aged woman. She passed us without a word. Then came a man in shorts, a mom with a child, a girl in a tracksuit, one after another, all looking completely normal. I whispered to "Are you sure this place is abandoned?" He said maybe it wasn't. Maybe his relative was mistaken. We followed the people to see where they came from. Eventually, we reached a room, just one door. Inside was a desk, dust, and nothing more. No exits, no footprints but ours. Bee suddenly panicked. "Let's leave," she said. We turned to go. Then the door creaked open. Someone stepped out. We ran. As we fled, more and more people appeared. They bumped into us, frowning as if we were in their way. Back at the gate, the street outside was also filled with wandering figures. We honked, screamed, no reaction. My boyfriend and A began to argue. Then B shouted, "There was a temple nearby. We should go." She and A ran toward it. I was overwhelmed, lying in the back seat, breath shallow. When I opened my eyes again, we were back on the main road. It was raining, no people in sight. Later, we tried contacting A and B. They never returned home. No one answered the phone. If anyone knows anything about the N factory in a prefecture, please reach out. The voice from the well. It was during an elementary school summer vacation. My parents had to work, so they sent me to stay with relatives in a small mountain village. The village was deep in the woods, made of old wooden homes. The air was clean, the water fresh, and nature all around. It felt new and exciting to me, a city child. There were kids my age too, and we quickly became friends. But at the edge of the village stood a long-abandoned shrine. Next to it was an old moss-covered stone well. The local kids called it the Bottom. They warned me seriously, never go near it. If you peer inside, it'll pull you down. I thought it was just a story to scare me. One day we played hide and seek near the shrine. I was it. While searching, I ended up near the well. The area around it was eerily quiet, unusually cold for a summer afternoon. Grass refused to grow there, as if time had stopped. I knew I shouldn't, but I stepped closer and looked in. Total darkness, no end in sight. Nothing to see, I muttered. Then I heard it, a voice from the bottom. Come over here. It was cold, wet, like a child whispering through water. Then, pale hands rose from the darkness. Thin, soaked hands like those of drowned children. They grabbed my sleeve, my hair, trying to drag me down. I screamed. My body froze. Then my friends arrived. They yanked me away and ran, silent and pale-faced. That night I had a fever. In my dreams, those hands reached for me again and again. The next day, an elder from the village visited. After hearing my story, he sighed. That well, long ago, when the village was too poor, they sent away the children they couldn't feed. They sank them in there. Some died without ever hearing their name. So they're lonely, and when they see living children, they want company. I never returned to that village again. To this day, whenever I see a deep, dark well, I remember the cold grip of those hands. The Guide Child. A few years ago during Golden Week, I returned to my countryside hometown with my wife Seiko and our 5-year-old son, Shota. It was the first time in years. My father had passed away, and my mother now lived there alone. We heard she had become forgetful, so we came to check on her. She was happy to see us, but something felt off. She mumbled, "Lots of guests lately. It's lively, but a little tiring." Yet aside from us, there were no other visitors. Behind the house was an old storehouse I'd always avoided as a child. There was also a well long disused. Shota wanted to go look, but my mother snapped, "No, something bad lives there." That night, I heard my mother talking cheerfully downstairs. Mixed in were children's voices, but our son was fast asleep. From the next day, Shota began acting strange. He often sat near the well, mumbling to someone. When we asked who he was talking to, he replied, "No one, but the friend over there keeps calling me." Mother began placing rice balls and snacks near the well. I asked why. She smiled and said, "For the Guide Child. He leads the guests back, so they don't get lost." Her calm tone chilled me. Memories stirred, faint images of playing hide and seek as a boy. One of us wasn't one of us. Then one afternoon, Shota vanished. We searched everywhere. Mother said, "He left with a guest." said he was going to guide them. I rushed to the storehouse. The door was ajar. Inside was pitch black. I called out his name. Shota peeked out, smiled, and waved. Not at me, but at someone inside the darkness. He said, "Okay, I understand." Then he turned to me and said, "Bye-bye, Daddy," and he vanished, his form bending like a shadow, then gone. I ran in. Nothing, just dark. Behind me, Mother whispered, "He did well. One more guest found the way back." That's how we keep balance here. The police found nothing. Mother insisted he'd gone somewhere far. Neighbors offered nothing but silence. I never returned. I lost my only son to that land. Children in the square. This happened during a childhood summer camping trip. After dinner, I took my little brother for a walk near the campsite. We wandered through a small grove and came upon an open clearing. It was summer, seeing kids wasn't odd, but these children were strange. They sat perfectly still along the edge of the square, knees up, arms around their legs, heads bowed in silence. At the center was a rusty, wheel-less old car frame, like a skeleton of something long forgotten. Inside sat 3 children, each holding a toy trumpet. Suddenly, the 3 children looked up, shrieked unintelligibly, and blew the trumpets all at once. Then fireworks went off right beside the car. My brother and I froze. The shouting, the trumpets, the bursts of light, it all repeated, felt unreal. Terrified, I grabbed my brother and turned back. He asked me, "Why are they doing that?" I didn't know. For some reason, the phrase religious summer camp came to mind. I said, "Maybe it's part of a ritual." The next morning, I told our mom. She took us to find the square, but no matter where we searched, there was no such clearing. To this day, whenever I think back, I wonder if those children ever existed at all. The album Without Faces. This happened recently. Maybe no one will believe me, but it's true. While sorting through my late father's belongings, I found an old photo album. The cover was plain, save for one word: memories. The first photo was a black and white shot of a family standing in front of a wooden house. Their faces were obscured, not by shadows or blur, but as if smeared out, deliberately erased. I thought it was a printing error, but every photo was the same. The settings were clear, but the people were smudged beyond recognition. Toward the end, the photos turned to color, and they featured our old home, the house I grew up in. One photo chilled me. It showed a child playing in the yard. The camera faced him directly. It was me. Same clothes, same haircut. But I had never seen that picture before. No one had ever taken it. I asked my mother. She glanced at it, then looked away. "I've never seen this album," she said calmly, but her eyes wouldn't meet mine. That night, I dreamt of someone standing in our old yard, back turned, motionless. In the morning, I rushed to check the album. The photo was gone. That page was now blank. At the end of the album, Only one line remained, scribbled in trembling handwriting. You, too, will become part of the memory. Do you enjoy nights like this? Give a like and we'll come again.